Hey, listen, YouTubers, how are you? Listen, glad you took time out to come and visit me on today. Listen, just want to be here for a minute. Man, there's so many things that's happening now that is causing strong individuals to follow their emotions versus following the voice of God. And I'm witnessing and seeing so many people get off track with because things doesn't feel right or things doesn't look right. And the reality of what we have to understand is that, listen, it's never good to base our path off of a response or a result of a high emotion, if that makes sense. If we're ever under the influence of high emotions, we're 9 times out of 10 about to do something that is so crazy that it's going to take us, if we make it through the consequence of that particular deal, that it's going to take us a minute to go around that block or go around that obstacle. And matter of fact, actually come back and start over because we still got to get it right before we can actually reach where we're trying to go. So the thing that I want to just talk with you today about is making sure that you are in control of your emotions. It's not good. It's never a good thing to follow the intense pressure that comes from our emotions as it begins to spin our wheels and controls our thoughts. The funny thing about emotions is that our emotions have become so strong in our lives that we've even allowed it to take over areas that we should have complete control over. And that things like emotional spending, that's where you begin to find emotional eating, emotional quitting, if that even a word or a phrase that we could use. But in long story short, it leads to quitting. And so what you need to understand and what you need to try to do is to become a person that's solid in God. What I mean by solid in God, a person that knows that, listen, that even as 1 John chapter 3 and 20 says, in the King James Version says, for if our heart condemn us, it says God is greater than our heart and knows all things. And so if we ever begin to find ourselves following the emotions or what our emotions is telling us, then we need to understand that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God. And we got to return back to our faith and return back to a place where God is actually moving in. If God is not, God's 9 times out of 10 is not moving in your emotions. Okay, your emotions have a way of being a part of the law of the flesh, which is something that works against God. It's something that Christ even came to break, the law of sin and death, which is different from the law of the flesh. But at the same time, we all know the human nature is to trust our own will before we trust anybody else's or anything else. And so the thing you got to do is know how to navigate through life to allow your emotions to work for you by, one, you killing the desires of your emotions. I'm not telling you to ignore your emotions, because your emotions actually is a defense that you have to keep you in a safe place or keep you from a place where you're actually from many dangers. Just let me say it like that. But long story short, I want you to take control today. Make a decision right now. Don't wait till tomorrow. To make a decision right now that you're taking back your thinking, you're taking back your spending, you're taking back your eating, you're taking back everything that you own, everything that God has given you dominion over, that you're taking it back, and that you're going to rule well in those particular areas, and you're not going to allow your emotions to dictate to you when you should eat, when you should spend, and how you're going to feel. Most of the time people don't realize it, but happiness is a choice. And when you begin to make your mind up to, listen, God died for my sins, and so I'm going to allow myself to be happy. And this is the thing you got to do, is understand that, listen, happiness is yours. Just trust God with it. Okay, listen, I love you all, and I'll talk to y'all later. Okay, all right.